Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel, Diaries of an Engineer Dad. It's been a while since I've posted anything lately, but we're going to try to fix that today. Unfortunately today, for those of you that like the car videos and that sort of stuff, this is not a car video today, but it is a preparation for a car video. Because I got my monster out there, and for my wife's significant birthday, which I will not tell you what it is, which one it is, I bought her a car. And I'm not going to tell you what that is either. You'll just have to wait and find out with the rest of the world. So, what we're doing today, as with as like most American garages, I've collected a crap ton of stuff. I've got car parts in there, I've got lawnmowers, I've got weed eaters, I've got woodworking stuff, saws, all that stuff. You can see those over my shoulder there. And so what we're going to do today is, the goal is to try to clean some of this stuff up so that I can get a second car in my, quote, two-car garage, which is really too small to be called a two-car garage in my opinion. So, how are we going to accomplish this? Well, I will show you. I have picked up two of these guys. They are the FlexiMounts. They're the 8-foot by 4-foot models. And what these guys do is they hang from your garage ceiling, and you can put up to 550 pounds of stuff on these guys. I picked this guy up. I actually picked two of these guys up from Lowe's. And what we're going to do is we're going to put one in that space right there, and we're going to put another one in that space right there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the easy one first, because I don't have to move any garbage to hang that one. And then we'll fill that one up, and then we will hang that one over there after we move a bunch of junk out of the way. So what I'm going to do is get started. I'm going to unbox this bad boy, show you what's in it. And then we'll probably what I'll do is do a little bit of prep work before I actually hang it, show you what I'm doing, and then we'll hang the dude, and I'll let you see how it works. And well, check that out. It's starting to rain this nice Saturday afternoon in southern Tennessee, so we'll probably get a nice serenade of rain while we're doing some work. Alright, I'll check back in just a second and we'll unbox this thing. Well, actually that was easier than expected, because the tape on this side had come loose, and I literally was just able to open this up. I'm amazed that it survived shipping. But as you can see, here are the bottom shelves. They're made of wire and angle. They look really nice, actually. They look very well made. And so we will see how all this stuff turns out as we get it hung. So let's get into this thing. Oh, looks like we have 4 different shelves in here to make up this 8-foot rack. So let me get these things out, and I'll show you what we're doing. Alright, cool. So I have everything unpacked, got everything out of the way. Everything was packed really, really well. There's my cages for the bottom base. I unpacked the brackets, and so what we have here is, these are the corner brackets. These will go on this will go on the actual wireframe part of it. These will go in the middle. These will support the middle pieces. And then we have these brackets here. Here, let's look at this right here. I'll show you. It's super nice. It's the way it's documented. So these are your ceiling brackets. In my case, my ceiling joists run this way, so I will be spanning my ceiling joists with those. You can do this a couple of different ways. They've got this handy dandy template that I have seemed to, there it is, this handy dandy template that will help you line out where you need to drill holes or whatever. In my case, I'll probably not be using that. I'll probably just find the studs and secure these brackets in there. Now these hold the cages together, so you put 2 pieces of the cage together kind of like this, and you use those brackets to hold them together. Again, those will span the ceiling joists, and these are the vertical pieces that will hold the cage up. So let me get some tools. Let me find my let's find our studs in the ceiling, and we'll get some stuff measured out, and I'll show you what I'm doing here in a second. And I failed to mention a moment ago that they have all the fasteners you need to do this. They have self-tapping screws to go into your ceiling, and they have all the fasteners that you need to put all the stuff together and support it securely. So just wanted to mention that they have everything that you need. If you buy one of these kits, you don't need to go buy any other fasteners to hang this thing to the ceiling. Alright, so let me show you what we've done. I have all of my stud locations marked. I will show you those in just a second. But I have them marked. I'm getting ready to place my ceiling brackets, which are these guys. I'm going to place them up there and then get ready to drill some holes to mount these guys. But let me show you what we've done here. If you've never used one of these stud finders, they're a little, I don't know, they can be a little hokey and they're not really an exact science. They get pretty close. But yeah, I didn't make these marks very definitive, but basically what we have here is I have where found this little guy at Lowe's, picked it up, used it 1,000 times. It works pretty good. So if you'll notice, I'm going to push this finger, or push this button where my thumb is, and just slide it across the ceiling. And when I get to where it finds a stud, it will put a little red arrow, and then you mark it. Now, one of the things that I noticed that this guy right here, I'm going to drag this thing to the left now, and you see that it shows me that I have a stud edge there. Well, that's obviously wider than a normal stud, but what I found is that there's a screw pop right here. So I know that whatever's in here should be big enough to hold that. So I'm going to go either, based off of a 16-inch center line from this stud to this stud, I found that these two were 16 apart, and then it goes to 24 starting about here. So I just kind of double checked this with my tape measure. Hold on, sorry about the camera motion there. We get 16 inches, so if you'll look right there, so between my two marks I've center lined it, and then right there I just kind of marked the center line on a 16-inch center. The interesting thing is that at this point, and again, sorry for the camera motion, if I put this right there on my center line, look at where that next mark is. You can barely see those two marks, but that's 24 inches, and that basically puts me in the center. And so all the rest of them over to my garage door opener are on 24-inch centers, which I didn't know that they would do for a floor, but I guess that this beam does most of the heavy support. So based off of the support span right there, I guess they can get away with doing 24-inch centers. So what I'm going to do now is place my brackets up here, mark some spots where I can drill some holes, and I plan to put the brackets basically in the corners here. So I'm going to put the brackets all the way up to the corner and back them up all the way as far as I can to this beam here. And what that's going to do is when I come over here to where my garage door opener framing is, I'm going to have to straddle it. I'm going to have to put a support out here. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah. I'm going to have to put a support out here and kind of straddle my garage door opener just a little bit. So I'll just drop the bottom of the tray here to about 25 inches, and it's going to straddle this just a little bit. Just because from here to the center line of the garage door is 8 feet, and obviously that is 8 feet. So I have to get around that just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is just drop this cage just a little bit, and the cage itself will be slightly below the garage door opener head and rail. So let me get some holes drilled, and I'll come back when got a couple of these things mounted, and we'll show you how this stuff goes together. Okay. So I was getting ready to drill my pilot holes, and I thought now would be a good time just to kind of show you a little trick. Just a little something that I've learned over the years. So it tells me to drill basically a 2.5 inch hole, 0.18 inch in diameter as a pilot hole for these self-tapping screws to go in. So let me show you a little something here. So basically I have your standard drill bit assortment that you can buy at Lowe's, Home Depot, wherever. I happen to be kind of a Lowe's guy, but that's just my personal preference. So right here, just simple math, if you do 3 divided by 16, you will get 0.1875. So that gives me a point, it's pretty close to a 0.18 inch hole. 11/64 is actually 0.171. But here's what I like to do. If I didn't know that, here's what I would do. I would take that drill bit and lay it right directly on top of that screw. And you see how I can see just a little bit of the screw body underneath that drill bit. That to me is a perfect pilot hole, because it's going to make sure that that screw is good and tight, and it has a lot of thread engagement on the wood as you crank it up in there into the wood nice and tight. So I don't know, just a little tip, maybe word of advice in doing these kind of things. If it didn't tell me, which that kind of threw me off, honestly. I was like, hey, wait, it's, what size drill bit do I use? And then I had to kind of read a little bit closer, and then do a little simple math to remember my measurements, my fractions to decimals. And it turns out that a 3/16 should be about the perfect bit for the pilot holes for this particular thing. So I'm going to get these things drilled, and we'll start getting them mounted, and yeah, more to come. Okay, I almost bit myself in the butt, and I want to save you from potentially making the same mistake. So you remember how I told you that I wanted to put that bracket in the corner of this big beam right here and the ceiling? Well, if you do that, you can't get the bolts in to secure the vertical pieces. If you look right here, the way they have this laid out, and the way they do this, they've got the bolts coming in and going through the vertical pieces from the outside, and they all have the L part of that bracket facing in toward the cage. I'm sure you could probably do it the other way, but here's how I solved this. It's pretty simple. So I took this simple little piece of wood, it's a 3/4 inch block, and I just took one of these brackets and stacked it together and took it up here, and there are my marks for my, there are my marks for my stud on this side, and there are my marks for that stud on that side. And I literally just took, let's see if we can, hold on, let me position this and then I'll show it to you. I used the template to draw the first marks, and then I realized that I think I screwed up. So I literally just used this piece of wood as a spacer to bring it out 3/4 of an inch. Remarked my holes 3/4 of an inch out. Yes, I could have measured and brought them out, but that was just a little simple trick to get this thing out and spaced away from the bracket, so that I didn't end up screwing myself and not being able to put bolts in the L bracket. So I did that because I didn't quite know how all this stuff goes together just yet. The instructions have the angle, yeah, that one, loser. The angle facing in toward the cage for all of the braces. And when I looked at the braces, it looked like, as you look at these guys and the way they're put together, it really looks like you need to face those angles toward the cage. and I guess we'll find out once we get it up there. So just wanted to keep you from potentially making almost the same mistake that I made. So I'm going to get some holes drilled, get some brackets mounted, and be back to show you the rest. Alright, so since the last few minutes that you saw me, I got all my ceiling mounts up. You can see them there. So they're up and ready to go. You can see those right at the edge of the garage door. So all I have to do now is I'm going to put the cage, the shelf itself together, and then I will put the drop bars on and then hang the shelf. So let's watch this. Let's see what's happening here. The instructions are really good. You basically put these things together like that, and those are 2 of them, and then so you'll put all 4 of them together like this, and there's a cool thing happening here. So on this side is just a hole, and on this side there's threads. Same way over here. It's just a hole here, and there's threads here. And so these screw packs that they gave us are nicely numbered. We will use the number 13 screws to connect these together and then attach these connecting plates to it. And the connecting plates will go on with the flange on the bottom for support. So don't put that on the wrong way. Actually, you might not be able to. I haven't tried it yet, but the flange goes on the bottom, which is this direction because the angles are up. So what we'll do is we'll get a couple of these going and lock them in together. So let's do that. So I have me a couple of these number 13 screws. They are Allen head screws, by the way. And so let's pull these together and line them up. I'm going to line them up this way too. And so the important thing will be that the screw hole lines up. So I'm going to set that guy in there and get it started. Maybe. Full disclosure, I'm not left-handed. No disgrace to those that are left-handed. My wife is left-handed, and she's an amazing creator. People that use their right brains, they just blow me away. I'm a very left-brain guy. So here we go. We'll get this guy. We'll get it started. And we'll use our trusty Allen wrench to tighten that dude up. Oops. It's hard to do one-handed. These things are a little interesting. They look a little... Okay, there we go. It was just a little bit off. So... But the threads are still tight. So if you ever run across that and the threads are tight, just tighten it, back it off a little bit. And there it goes. It just loosened up. So there must have been some paint or maybe some, I don't know, some thread material in the actual threads. So notice that I sort of got that one hand tight and then got this one hand tight, got them lined up, and then I went ahead and tightened this guy down. If you don't do that, what you might run into is that you'll get one of them tight and it's misaligned, and then you got to go loosen it again and then go back and tighten the other one. So do them sort of finger tight first, get them aligned, and then yeah. So I'll have to do the same thing with this guy, work it back and forth a little bit. Actually, that one broke free pretty easily. Tighten that guy up. Alright, cool. So now, see, look what I did. This is why you do them hand tight. So we're going to back this off just a little bit. I thought I was in the clear. Back this one off. And I'm going to back this one off. That way, well, that one lined up pretty good. Must just be that size. But what we're going to do is we're going to loosen this just a hair so that they'll move. and then we'll put this connecting plate on. And this connecting plate also uses number 13 screws. So that guy goes on there like that. Let me reposition here. There we go. I'll let you sit on my ladder while I run a couple of screws in this bad boy. So again, flange on the bottom side, which is the side where the angle is. And then we'll grab one of these, line the holes up, start that screw maybe. Wow, these things are really stubborn to get started. There we go. So we'll go all the way out here to this side, start this one. Come on. There you go. And two more. Get them started. One more. Now I can snug them up a little bit. I'm going to crank them too tight because I got one put on the other side. So there you go. Not too difficult. I just have to do it about 4 more times. So I'm going to go do that. I'll come back and I'll show you the finished product. Alright, so I've got a project update for you. I have the cage built and I have the down bars built. So let me show you that. Yeah, let me show you that. Alright, so word to the wise, just one of those things. If you're sort of an OCD person, pay attention to the fact that these are angles, and that if you rotate these panels one way or the other, the crossbar won't line up. I don't think that'll do anything significant structurally to it, but I know that it was driving me crazy when I looked at it. I was like, wait, why is this wrong? And I flipped it around and realized that they're just different. So yeah, so I built 2 sections of 2 at any given time, and then you take the 2 sections of 2 and you put them together in the middle, and they take just one of these little number 13 Allen head bolts on both ends to put them together. I have you put the support bracket on 2 pieces. You do not put it in the middle, because this piece goes in the middle like that as a support. So and then of course I got the cross brace there, cross brace there, cross brace over there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hang these, and so I'm going to start my garage door opener, and the center of my garage is going to be the limiting factor. So I'm going to start, I'm going to hang one like right there where it lines up, and then we'll hang that corner as well. And then I'm going to hang, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to hang the 4 corners so that I can then take this grid. And if you'll notice on these bars, I've already got these measured to the way I want them. Oh, okay, so let's talk about these for just a second. So there's 2 pieces to these. There's a bigger piece which has the squares to lock the carriage bolts in, and then there's a smaller piece that just has the round bolt holes in them. The round bolt hole piece goes inside the piece with the squares. That way you can stick the carriage bolts through. It will lock the carriage bolt and you can tighten the nut up. Now, what I would do is I would get you a 1/2-inch wrench, because this little piece right here with an Allen head or an Allen wrench stuck in the middle of it is not very easy to turn. These they're nylon coated nuts, and so that they grip and basically don't back out, and they get a little, that little guy just doesn't give you enough leverage. So get you one of those. And then I've got the center brackets made up. I made all of these. I made one to the length that I think that I need, and then made all the rest of them to that length. My lowest point that I got to get around is the rail for my garage door. So hopefully I got that right and I won't have to readjust these too much. So I'm going to hang these guys, get them up there, get them in the spot where they need to be. That way what I'm going to do is I can take this lip and I can rest it in that and lift it up and have it support it, and then I can fasten the middle ones together. So I'm going to go get the corners in the spot where they need to be, and then I'll come back and give you a project update. Okay, so foobar update. Remember how I said that I wanted to put that all the way toward the corner, and then I've realized, oh, I need to back it out just a little bit. And then I backed it out 3/4 of an inch, and now I'm realizing that I probably need a little more space, because this guy, notice that it has the square hole to hold the carriage bolt, goes up here like this, and the nut goes on the back side, back here in this little 3/4 of an inch hole. So that means I'm going to tediously attach that guy with an open end wrench because I cannot get a socket behind it. If you're putting one of these up next to one of these giant beams in your garage, be aware of that. Okay, so I want to point this out one more time. Don't do what I did. I got that way too close. Could not use the carriage bolts to turn a nut on that side. I fiddled with it for about 5 minutes and then fiddled with it for another 5 minutes to get it undone. So I went to my local hardware store and picked up a couple of 5/16 by 3/4. I think these are 18 thread count bolts. So I'll have to check the packaging just to make sure. But then I stuck it in from the backside, ran the bolt on that way I could hold it with an open-ended wrench and use a ratchet on the nut. So don't do what I did. That's way too close. Give yourself some room to manipulate the nuts. Just learn from my mistake. All right, we're done. As you can see behind me, I have it hung and it's up in my garage rafters. Let me flip the camera around and I'll show it to you. Alright, so had to take my light down because it was in the way of that brace, so don't worry about that. But yeah, it's up. You see I've got it braced up there and on the corner, and these corners have these nice hooks on them so that you can lay the basket in these hooks and it'll actually hold it while you fasten it. This piece here has a little flange on it to hold it and support the middle. And yeah, so got all 4 corners sort of the same way. You see that one up there. So I've been through all these bolts, I've tightened them up, made sure they were snug. So let me answer the question of the day. That question is, can I do this myself? Yes, you can. Do I recommend it? No. Okay, here you can do this. You can put the mounts up, you can measure for everything, drill it, get everything ready. You can even get the basket ready. But to hang the basket, it takes a fair amount of strength and a fair amount of coordination, because here's what you have to do. Watch. When I picked this thing up, I did hang it, and here's what you have to do. I took some of my number 14 bolts and stuck them right up here in this ladder, and I stuck the ladder right in the middle. And once you pick this thing up, you have to support the middle. There is no support in this thing, and it will sag down in the middle until you get it fastened to those pieces. So you have to hold it and support it in the middle while you're putting it up there. And you can hang it. I did. I hung it in that corner, hung it in that corner, hung it over in that corner and that corner. And then what I had to do was continue to hold it in the middle and support it. And then I came over here, grabbed this, held it on, put one of those bolts in, ran over to the other side while still holding it up and put a bolt in that side. Not the easiest thing to do. It's doable. But yeah, so there it is. Here, let me step back and give you the full picture. There you go. So right now it is taking up half of my garage space. I intend to put another one on that side. I will do that another day because this one took me far too long, and I learned some lessons, and hopefully I taught those to you. So as you can see, I got clearance for my garage door rail, and my shelf. I just lose a little bit of shelf. It's not a big deal. And then over here, I don't know, my garage door opener gets in it a little bit, but if you're stacking stuff that close to the edge, you probably need another shelf. So anyway, all right, let me answer question number 2 of the day. Luther, how long did it take you to do that? Much longer than it should have. Let me just say that the tedious process is finding your studs and putting those little braces in right there. Boy, that's hard to do on camera. Right there. Finding the studs, drilling the holes, anchoring those braces was by far the hardest part of this project. I put them way too close to that cross beam, which I've already told you not to do again. Leave room for a wrench to get in there. Made me have to go to the store, buy a couple of hex head bolts to basically do it the other way. But all in all, I've got 4 hours into this project, and it shouldn't have taken that long. I learned some lessons. I hope I've helped you learn some lessons about this thing. If you have 2 people, this will go way faster. Maybe one person builds the case and the braces here, and somebody else measures and drills. You know, I don't know. But you can do it a lot faster. Like I said, I have one more to put right there, and that one should take me significantly less time. But if you've never done one of these before, and it's just you, I'd say 2, maybe 3 hours. So give yourself plenty of time. Don't get frustrated. Take your time. Do it right. And it'll be something that you'll love and that will help you out in your garage organization. So, all right, cool guys. That's a wrap on this video. Just wanted to share my little project with you. Add some more content to the channel because I've been negligent at doing so. And stay tuned because I do have a surprise for the channel. Most of you guys know I'm a muscle car guy. I've always loved Camaros, but I have branched out and bought something else. And no, it's not a Mustang. So stay tuned. There will be something else coming, and we'll do some videos in that, some ride-alongs, chat, and just show you show you what I think about it. So anyway, hope you liked this. Hope it helps somebody else that's thinking about trying to organize their garage. I like to do these little things, you know, just hopefully it helps somebody else. So take it easy, and we'll see you next time.